We got some good video of David stretching there live on YouTube. Yep. All right, so we're live now, and we're going to go ahead and get started in just a moment. Fantastic. Everyone, get ready for
no, Max is, but I'm going to let you know how much I appreciate everybody's participation here, because the only thing that makes these things possible is you, to believe, to create, to be inventive.
Well, enough of the grandiose music. Thank you, everyone, for coming here today. I am your host this evening, Vince Wilson, and I am very honored to have my guests here this evening for the first annual ever Honorary Andruzzi Awards. Apparently, it's not the first Andruzzi Awards, I heard. Someone pointed out to me, but it's the first annual Honorary Andruzzi Awards. And we're very happy to have all of our esteemed guests here to pass out these awards this evening. A couple of people could not make it, but we'll get to that very shortly. But a little history of the Andruzzi Awards. 9 awards to be given to 9 individuals live online, named after some of the golden age magicians and mystery artists of yesteryear. The Honorary Andruzzi Awards, the Thurston Award, the Poe Award, the Keller Award, the Hermit Award, the Dante Award, the Annemann Award, the Carter Award, and the Blackstone Award. It's almost too many awards to give out, but we have a lot of awards to give out tonight. Remember, everyone, and you know who I'm talking to. Keep it short, your acceptance speeches and that sort of thing. Anyway, in the case of these luminary artists, there was an emphasis on theatricality, originality, and ritual, titillating spectacle, if you will. Many in performance and in Poe's case, his writing and storytelling. These 9 awards will be given annually to those who best represent creativity and magic in performance. Only 9 were chosen this year for these exquisite, specially designed medallions, 4 inches round, solid metal medallions displayed in a special keepsake box, each award engraved with the winner's name, the year awarded, and the historic mystery artist spiritually associated with the winner. Isn't that incredible? Yes, it is. All right. We have been wanting to honor mystery artists for some time now. We also knew we did not want to do another contest. The magic contests that exist already are doing a fine job. But we did know we wanted something we could do every year, an award that would honor those who have created true moments of wonder in the most imaginative ways possible. Ugh, I should drink some water before this. Anyway, performers and creators or magic who push the limits in magic, mentalism, performance, style, and narrative storytelling. We also wanted to honor the legacy of a great and modern bizarre magic, Tony Andruzzi. So by the way, it was the enigmatic and mysterious Professor BC, each award engraved with the winner's name, the year awarded, once again, the historic mystery artist spiritually associated. Yeah, on each medallion, I want to pull one out in just a moment, has Hecate on the cover right there. You saw it a little earlier. Bizarre magic creator. This actually has a name written on the back, so I have to be very careful not to give away the winners, who may or may not be in this room with me right now. So why don't we get on with the awards ceremony right now. All right. I want to bring up the first award. Now, the first award is actually, we're just going to kind of jump to the chase right here. The first award is actually arguably here we go. The most important award, the award in which the awards is named after. All right. The Andruzzi Award. Tony Andruzzi was born Timothy McGuire on May 22nd, 1925 in Cheyenne, Wyoming. He performed as Tom Palmer, Masculine New Age, and Damon X. But everyone knew him first and foremost as Tony Andruzzi. These awards exemplifies what made Tony an example of theatrical magic, uniqueness, originality, and living every day as weird and bizarre as possible. This year's winner that best exemplifies what made Tony, well, he was a friend of his, and before attended the infamous gathering known as Invocationals, held annually by Andruzzi, the one who best exemplifies this award is esteemed guest Todd Robbins. Todd, please unmute thyself.
Well, this is lovely. I'm very happy to be accepting this. This is a wonderful honor. I'm sorry that I'm sober for it, because I think that would be more appropriate if I wasn't, knowing Tony. But he was a wonderful, wonderful man, and I am truly honored to get this because he reads so much. I just, without going into too much ado, I met him and got a chance to go to the last Invo and met some wonderful people there, like Joe Gibbons, like I believe Hiawatha was there, and a number of other folks. And it was such an eye-opener that there was this whole area of magic that was so expressive and had no boundaries. You could do anything as long as it was wonderful and dark and grab the imagination of the population. And I've just sort of devoted myself ever since I discovered that to this. So I am truly honored to be accepting this. Thank you so much.
Yes, I wish I could have known Tony Andruzzi. I'm sure I would have loved him. And I think most people don't know that you actually helped inspire the theming of this year's Bizarre Hauntings, which became Poe's Magic Conference. The idea of getting a bunch of individuals together who were part of the Invocationals, who and Weird Weekends and that sort of thing. We had kind of brainstormed that together. And I'm going to bring you up again later because you're going to be accepting an award on the behalf of someone else who couldn't make it tonight. But we'll keep that a secret for now. Todd Robbins, congratulations on winning the first ever honorary Andruzzi award.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad I was able to get out of Afghanistan and be here tonight.
You're very welcome.
So
Yeah, it's a little messy over there, I heard.
Well, I did what I could.
The next award is named after perhaps one of the most famous mentalists of all time, Theo Annemann, born Theodore John Squires, was an American professional magician who specialized in the field of mentalism. Annemann is most famous for inventing and refining many of the standard mentalism routines that continue to be used by magicians and mentalists today. Annemann is known as the quintessential mentalist and creator of modern mentalism. This year's winner that best represents this, come on, guys, you know who it is. That's right, Kenton Knepper. Ken Knepper, my friend, please unmute thyself and accept your award.
Thank you so much. What a great honor. Wow. Andruzzi and Annemann. That's wow. Double A's. I'll take it. That's great. Thank you very much. That just means the world to me. And amongst so many of my friends, boy, this is going back to the old days and really warms the cockles of my heart. It's very funny because I did get one of the older Andruzzi awards back in the day when there were like 12 of them, 10 of them. What was it, guys, back in the old days? And that's like 23 or so years ago when I got the last. And so to get one of the new honorary Andruzzi awards is really, really beautiful. And, it's very funny to me. It was really friends like Larry Becker and Doc Hilford and people such as that kind of made me into being named a mentalist. I didn't think I was. Doc said, show up this weird weekend stuff and do your thing. And I went, I'm not a weird guy, He goes, oh, no, you are. And that's kind of how my journey started with bizarre magic. But I have to say, later, of course, I got known for Wonder Words, which was great. And then be a mentalist. So as a word person and a mentalist, I can only say, and I mean it.
Thank you for that. That was actually, those words were beautiful. Absolutely touched my heart with that. That was, I'm not sure if anyone can top that tonight, but it's gonna be a rough act to follow with that. So Kenton, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You truly deserve the Annemann Award. And I don't know if you saw it earlier when I held it up, but here is your engraved award designed by Professor BC.
What a beauty. Look at that. And they got us in the right colors, no less. What do you know?
That's correct. Yes. All right.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Now, and as you can tell, if you haven't told already or can tell already, it has been, this is an alphabetical order by the list of famous Golden Age magicians of old. So our next person up for an award is the Blackstone Award. Okay. Harry Blackstone was born Henry Boughton and was raised in Chicago, Illinois. He began his career as a magician in his teens and was popular through World War II as a USO entertainer. He was often billed as the Great Blackstone. His son, Harry Blackstone Jr., also became a famous magician. Actually, personal note, that's one of the magicians who inspired me as a child. Blackstone was known for dipping into the supernatural in his conjuring and was said to be able to project unassisted to the largest of audiences. Blackstone exemplified mystery and theatricality. This year's winner that best represents this is Vlad. Vlad, thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
And accepting this award.
I appreciate it. I didn't expect to be honored with such a great accolade, but I do appreciate being amongst my peers and getting such a high honor to be acknowledged amongst you.
Well, it is an honor to have you here. You certainly deserve this award. You're one of the people, of course, that were thought of very early on as we were discussing who deserves these. And here is your engraved award. It says Vlad Blackstone Award, Vlad 2021. We only have so many of these to give away, but we'll be having them every year. Vlad, you definitely deserve an Andruzzi Award, and you deserve the Blackstone Award in particular. Everyone, a round of applause for Vlad, the Gothic magician. Thank you so much for coming in and accepting this award. And next on our list of awards, and this is actually moving along smoother than I thought it would, as we move on to the Carter Award. Now, Charles Joseph Carter, who began his career as a journalist and lawyer, was an American stage magician who performed as Carter the Great. Carter combined mysticism and magic with the occult. He implied psychic powers during his performances, and he wasn't trying to beat the devil all the time. This year's winner that best represents this is Mark Strivings. Mark Strivings, unmute thyself.
Wow. Hi, guys. I don't know what to think. I have always felt like I was in league with Satan. I've certainly been accused of it enough times. I'll be honest with you. That's beautiful, Vince. That's really beautiful. Thank you.
There's a little reflection of Satan by sheer coincidence right there.
There it is. I'm going to use that as a shiner, by the way. I'm going to start using it in my shows. I should tell you, to be honest, I feel a little bit like a fish out of water because I'm surrounded by giants here, and I love and respect all you guys. And even though you specifically invited me, I honestly thought I was just going to be watching. I really, truly did. I am genuinely surprised. So thank you very much for this.
You're very welcome.
I won the lottery one time and it was like $4. And so this outdistances that by light years. So thank you very much.
Well, you're very welcome, Mark. You definitely deserve this award. I think Carter would be honored. And I can't wait to see you in April of next year, and we will all hang out together again for the Pose Magic Conference.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mark. You definitely deserved it, and I'm glad we surprised at least one person tonight so far. So Ken, of course, predicted all these in advance. I just want to. Here we go. Now on to the next award for this evening.
Excuse me, he was off by one.
Oh, that is true. Yes, I think I recall that. Yeah. Dante. Now, the winner of the Dante Award, we'll get that to a moment, but is not here this evening because of a previous request for his attention. Dante was born Harry August Jensen in Denmark. He emigrated to the U.S. as a small boy after becoming a performer and touring as the Great Jansen. Which is something I didn't notice until I did this research myself. He was chosen by Howard Thurston to run the Thurston No. 2 show, who gave him the name Dante. With Dante's death, what historically has been known as the golden age of magic came to an end. But his legacy lives on with those who are not afraid to delve into the darker side of magic and illusion. This year's winner that best represents this is Rob Zabrecki. Rob will be joining us by video tonight.
Hi, everyone. I gratefully accept the Andruzzi Dante Award. Combining storytelling and magic has always given me a great purpose in the art, and it feels really nice to be recognized for that. So thank you. I'd like to also thank all the people that put this together, Vince Wilson and company, as well as all of the recipients. And I'm only sad that I can't be there now to accept it in person. So on behalf of myself, thank you all.
That was a very touching thank you from Rob Zabrecki. He is such a wonderful guy. You know, I've really enjoyed getting to know him the past year or so. Thank you, Rob, for sending the video in. Now, Hermit. Who should win the Hermit Award? It's on to our next award tonight. Alexander Herrmann was a French magician, better known as the Great Herrmann. Herrmann the Great was part of the Herrmann family name, which has been called the first family of magic. Alexander Herrmann exemplifies stage performance. It was known for being generous as a lover of magical venues and theaters. This year's winner that best represents this is Joe Given. Joe, unmute thyself and let us hear your melodious voice.
Well, hello, friends. Wow, this was so unexpected. I didn't even know what to say about this, but as everybody else said, I'm truly honored to be part of this first group of people. I feel like I've been kind of forgotten for decades in the magic industry because we spent our time opening our own theater. I say we with my wife, Carol Massey, and featuring magic from around the world. David Parr's been there. We've had Todd Robbins, Mark Strivings. I've also met David Parr, Todd Robbins, and Mark Strivings. Oh, I love that. That is beautiful. You spelled my name right. Yes. Thank you, Vince.
You're very welcome. Yep.
And brought Ohio into a thing, Japanese TV years ago, and it's so fun to see all you guys again. You know, here we are decades later, and we're enjoying each other's company, and I can hardly wait to see you all in person where we can really do that. But it's been a wonderful thing. I'll just throw this out real quickly. My whole thing about bizarre magic started way before I heard the term. And I did some bizarre magic that I lost a couple very close friends to because it freaked them out so badly that they just decided, you know, I was evil. And I take that as an accolade. And, you know, where I've been trying to go with this is to make it so immersive and so involving with the spectators that it becomes way different than just a typical show. And so, you know, I hope we can do that and deliver it to everybody here at some point in the future. But Vince, thank you so much for bringing me on, man. It blows me away. I'm truly, truly, truly honored.
Well, Joe, you definitely, you know, deserve the award. You've contributed greatly to magic. You're well known. And of course, you're always, you know, you're at the Invocationals and talked of highly having performed it. And I heard some stories and we'll talk about that later.
I'd love to hear those myself.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Right. Let's see what is on our list of our next list on awards. Aha, the Keller Award. Interesting. Harry Keller, born Heinrich Keller to German immigrants in Erie, Pennsylvania, was an American magician who presented large stage shows during the late 1800s and early 1900s. Keller was arguably the predecessor of Harry Houdini and the successor of Robert Heller. He was often referred to as the Dean of American Magicians and performed extensively on 5 continents. Keller exemplified the goal of perfection in his performance. This year's winner that best represents this, and I saw him look up as I said perfectionist, is David Parr, everyone. David Parr, unmute thyself.
Thank you. Thank you. That is
Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you so much. I heard the word perfectionist and went, maybe he's talking about me. It's not always a good thing. It really isn't.
We've talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a good thing, but not always.
And here it is.
That is so pretty.
And there's Satan in the reflection there, just for you. And
I have a statue of Hecate right off to my left here. Mm-hmm. I have to say, Tony was a great inspiration to me. I don't think I would have followed the path that I've followed in magic without having met Tony. And that's because when I was going to those invocational conventions, I was performing magic in comedy clubs, and I was absolutely miserable. I hated it because the game in comedy clubs was pander or die. And so I died over and over and over again. And it was a miserable experience. And having met Tony, and it just sort of sunk in on an unconscious level that he had been a successful comedy magician who decided that he had reached the end of that path, so he abandoned that path and struck off on a new, weirder path. And knowing that he had done that sort of gave me permission to do that, to remake myself, and find a path that would be more satisfying to me, which would be a spookier path. And I don't know that I could have done that without Tony's example. So he's really an important figure to me, and so this award means a lot to me.
Well, you certainly earned it. You absolutely deserve this award, and I really appreciate your friendship and your contributions to magic. And you have one of the best Zoom shows out there. That cannot be denied. So it's great to have you here tonight. And congratulations.
Before I go, I want to show you. I found this today. This is a snapshot I took of Tony and Gloria at one of the Invo conventions. I had just, the convention would close off with a brunch on Sunday. And this was at the brunch, and Tony would give out prizes to people. And I had just won a prize, and the prize was a copy of his book, Damon's Diary. And so as I went up to get my copy of Damon's Diary, I snapped this picture of Tony and Gloria. And
thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yay!
All right, on with the show. Thank you, David Parr. Congratulations. Woo! All right. This is actually someone who's very special. Obviously, this is very connected to Baltimore, where the conference is held. Poe's Magic Theater, the theater I run in Baltimore City. Poe's Magic Conference, all right, which, of course, hosts the Andruzzi Awards, hopefully in person soon, all right. Edgar Allan Poe was an American writer, poet, editor, and literary critic. Poe is best known for his poetry and short stories, particularly his tales of mystery and the macabre. He is widely regarded as a central figure of Romanticism in the United States and of American literature as a whole, and he is one of the country's earliest practitioners of the short story. He is also generally considered the inventor of the detective fiction genre, and is further credited with contributing to the emerging genre of science fiction. Poe exemplifies storytelling and substance. His ability to tell a story was inspired by generations and will continue to inspire for decades to come. This year's winner that best exemplifies this is, we need to get a drum roll for the next show. We should have a live drummer, I think. All right. All right. Is Hiawatha Johnson Jr. Hiawatha, unmute thyself.
All my brothers, first and foremost, it is a super honor, more than you can imagine. The very first book that my brother, I have a big brother, 7 years older, the first book that he gave me when I was 12 years old was a book by Edgar Allan Poe. And from that point, I was absolutely addicted. I read all the Poe, I saw the movies, I got deeply into him. Then I found out he had a connection to Virginia, which is my home. And I'm deeply honored. Next, I'd like to say a big thank you to someone who's not here, but Brother Max Maven. That is how I met Tony Andruzzi, was because of Max, and which allowed me to go to the last few invocations. And I will always remember, after Tony first saw me perform, he came back and bit my ear. And I'm not talking about a little, I'm not talking about just a little, he bit my ear. And it was painful, but it was one of the most joyous, painful things, because that was his way of, that was his stamp of approval, biting my ear. What a very brilliant man, really knew how to perform. And then I look at you, please forgive this language, but I look at these badasses on this screen. All of you brothers are off the chain. It's a couple of you I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, but all of you, I'm very familiar with your work. And then I'm especially pleased to see my big brother there, Todd Robbins, that I don't get to see anywhere near enough. Just a beautiful brother, very blunt, and extra special to see Brother Joe Given, as he mentioned earlier. The last time I saw Joe, I think probably was in Tokyo. I don't know if I saw you since then. And all of you just beautiful people. I planned something very special for this weekend, and I'm going to sit on it until April. No one will see it until you brothers get to see it. This means more to me than I can even express. Love you. Thank you. Thank you, Vince. Thank you all.
Thank you, Hiawatha. Thank you very much. It's an honor to have you here tonight. You're one of my favorites, and that's not an exaggeration. All right, we have one more award to give out, if I'm not mistaken, just one left. All right, let's see what we got coming up. Yeah, one left. All right, here we go. The Thurston Award. Who is getting the Thurston Award this evening? Howard Thurston was a world-famous stage magician from Columbus, Ohio. He had the largest traveling vaudeville magic show for the time, requiring more than 8 entire train cars to transport his props and equipment across the country. He had pioneered many illusions that have become staples of modern magic today. Thurston was the most famous magician of his time. He exemplifies performance, style, knowledge, and the love of magic itself. This year's winner that best represents these aspects is Keller. You don't look like Keller.
Yay! 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 I spoke to Keller earlier today. He was very sorry he couldn't be here. He was busy, involved as he always is, with the Penn Jillette Retirement Fund, but he said he was deeply touched by this, and he just thought it was so very, very sweet. and he sends his love, as he said, quote unquote, from beyond the grave. So he wants to know what the dates are for the upcoming conference, and if he is not, if he can get the ankle bracelet off, it allows him to leave Las Vegas. He might even, you never know, he might even show up in Baltimore. Stranger things have happened.
That would be fantastic. Well, you can tell him it's. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Todd. Go ahead, finish that thought.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Please tell Keller that it is March 31st to April 3rd. It officially starts on April Fool's Day, which just makes sense with this group. All right, and the theme of the conference will be the Fool's Journey, and I don't think I had to tell any bizarre magicians what that means. But the conference, it will be that weekend, and we're super excited. We have incredible plans to make this even a bigger event, since we have more time still to put it together. There has even been suggestions there might be a second event next year of significance. Those are just rumors right now. But thank you, Pseudo Teller, for coming in this evening and making this, participating in this and making this such a wonderful event this evening. I'm going to put us all in the spotlight. I'm going to actually remove my spotlight here, put this in speaker gallery mode. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to say thank you and congratulations to everyone this evening. You amazing, wonderful bastards, you. Thank you so much for coming here tonight and honoring the great Tony Andruzzi, who does not get enough recognition for his contributions to modern and magic. And I want to put this out there for the mainstream magicians out there who are wondering what the hell is bizarre magic and who are these guys sometimes. It's like, let me tell you, if the golden age magicians traveled from the past and there was a bunch of, card guys off in the corner and everyone in this group was sitting at a table together, they would come over to us and sit down with us and they would say, what the hell happened? And hey, not to say there's not a lot of entertaining, great card magic, mainstream magic. A lot of that's wonderful and it's great and amazing and incredible. But the most amazing magicians in the world added theatricality, storytelling, and wonder to their shows. I always said there were good, there are bad, and there are sad magicians. The good ones are the ones who share wonder with their audience, who share it, who look in their eyes and can see that in their eyes. And you, all of you, exemplify this wonder and this need to share with the people of the world. And that really means a lot to the audiences that you have performed in front of and continue to perform in front of, and hopefully for many, many more years to come. And that is not scripted. It's straight from the heart. And I really appreciate everyone coming here this evening. And you can, all of you can open your mics now if you'd like and chat with us and maybe talk about some memories of Tony Andruzzi and the days of old, if you'd like, if you have a few moments to share.
Vince, I just have to say real quickly that what you just said unscripted was beautiful. And that was truly what this is all about for me. It always has been. And so thank you for sharing that bit of information.
You're very welcome. And I mean it sincerely.
I will share one thing. This is this straight razor was made by Tony Andruzzi. He made one for Eugene Berger as well. And I have one and Tony had one. And he gaffed it so that it would bleed. It would make a stripe of blood across your flesh. And Eugene promptly broke his after he got it. I don't know how, because it's not a complicated device.
He was going for real blood.
Yeah. And but Tony, one of the things Tony was great about was if Eugene said, "Can you fix this?" Tony would fix it immediately, and so he had his straight razor back. But I cherish this piece as one of my memories of Tony.
Would anyone else like to share a memory of Tony?
Yeah, the very first time, whoever's toes I'm stepping on. Sorry, guys. My very first memory of Tony was in 1990, and it was at my first PEA convention, which was in Phoenix, and Tony was in attendance. And of course, I was new. I didn't know hardly anybody, and we were in a lecture hall, an actual raked lecture hall at like a college somewhere. I think the venue was literally like a junior college where the convention was held. And there was some discussion in one of the lectures or something, and one of the guys made a comment about how he felt that, and this is strictly a mentalism thing, but he made a comment about he felt that mentalists should always be 100% correct when they, make, a statement about whatever. They should always be 100% correct. I was seated about 2/3 of the way up, kind of off on the left side. And from back of my right, from the very back of the room, this thunderous voice came screaming down from the back of the room. And it was Tony. And he was going, no, 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 no. And he was climbing over chairs. He was climbing over rows. And I thought, and I went, holy crap. And I didn't realize who it was. I, of course, knew who Tony was, but I didn't realize it was Tony. And I thought he was going to attack the guy. I really did. And that is my very first memory of Tony. And fortunately, I got to know Tony really quite well in the final years of his life, and he became a very dear friend. And I wish like crazy I'd gotten to meet him 30 years earlier, because he was just such a sweetheart. And one of my most cherished memories was I got to hear him on three different occasions tell his famous LF story, the story of the LF language, which is screamingly funny. And to hear Tony tell it, I mean, oh my God, it was a work of art. It was absolutely so fabulous. And if you're not familiar with it, all of you out there, it's in Jim Magus's book about Tony. It's scripted out in there word for word. And it's wonderful. Just don't tell it to the kids. That's all. Keep it away from the kids, but by all means offend everybody else in sight, because it's wonderful. So that's my personal favorite memory of Tony.
Well, and you said, excuse me, when you said you keep it away from the kids, as Tony would probably say if he was here, they've got to learn sometime.
True. He would.
Yes.
He would.
I got to run on here for a second, but I was lucky enough to go to the last Invo, and I had spoken to Tony a number of times on the phone. Jay Marshall put us together because I was like, it was an epiphany finding, the Invo, the invocation, this magazine, and like, what is this whole area? This is where have you been all my life? Because it was so theatrical, it was so wonderful, it was so filled with imagination. And so I spoke to Tony, and he said, well, we were doing the last Invo, it's sold out, but if you want to come, we'll make room for you. And I was so honored. I jumped on the plane, got to Chicago, went there to the hotel, and they were having a little night before, and there was the hostility suite, which was the hospitality suite, but it was Tony's version of it, and it had a little bar in the corner. And there was Tony sitting there talking to Randy Wakeman. And they were just having a nice conversation, and I kind of held back a little bit until there was a lull in their conversation, and then Randy kind of turned away and Tony turned away. And I walked up and I said, Tony, it's so nice to finally meet you. I'm Todd Robbins from New York. He turned to me and said, can't you see I'm having a conversation with Randy Wakeman? How rude can you be to walk up and disturb our conversation? I'm having a conversation with this wonderful, wonderful magician. And Randy like jumped out of his seat, and I just stood there and just knew it was all wonderful bluster, and just drank it all in and was smiling. And he continued on for a little bit, and then he stopped and he started to smile. I say, I think being yelled at by Tony Andruzzi might be the highlight of my weekend, if not my year, possibly my life. And he said, "Welcome to the invitation. Can I get you a drink?"
Yeah.
And it was lovely thereafter. It was just glorious. And I cherish the moments when I was around him, the few and only a handful of times, and the phone calls, the long, wonderful phone calls with those pauses and that lovely voice. He was just the best, and it will continue to be an inspiration for many, many years. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go get a drink. I have to go by.
Have one.
Thank you so much. I was truly honored by this. Thank you.
Bye,
You're welcome.
Todd.
Bye, Todd.
Bye.
See you, Todd.
Hey,
What's funny about that whole story is that Randy Makeman was total card magician. That was his deal.
Yeah.
For Tony to be enamored.
Yeah.
So here's something. I don't know how well you can see it. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
This was the first time I had kind of found out that Bizarre Magic was a real deal. So this is one of the books that Tony made by hand.
Wow.
And even these pictures of the bizarre magicians that were big at the time, there's Tony, are hand glued inside this book. Everything was all the borders and all the different things he silk screened himself. And one of my most treasured items. I've always thought if I was going to have my house burned down, this would be one of the very first things I would take out. So, not only just knowing him personally after the fact that I got this, but it's just an extraordinary thing. So happened to be behind me, so I thought I'd share it.
That is cool.
Nice. Wow.
Very nice.
I never got to actually meet him in person, but I know at mystery school, I had talked to Eugene about, inspirations and things. And the second year of mystery school, Eugene pulled me to the corner and said, I have something for you. And I'm like, okay, Eugene, what are you talking about? And he goes, here, take these. And he handed me the scroll and the grimoire.
Oh,
Said,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
said, these are the ones Tony made for me. He said, but you never got to meet Tony. And I think Tony would have wanted you to have them.
Wow.
So I was like, thank you. I was like, it was like sort of like the Thurston cloak. It was like,
The mantle.
You mentioned the scroll. Here's one of them.
yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
There's a scroll.
He hand assembled these as well. What an amazing
Incredible.
guy. So dedicated to our art form that, he would do these things, and it was out of the love for this style of magic, not out of the love of making money.
No,
It's
they're
amazing.
beautiful artifacts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you took it so serious. You guys who went to the invocation, he had this rule he would announce, while shows are happening, no cards, no coins, don't fumble, don't play with anything. And a very, very well-known magician, as I love telling this story, it was an afternoon show. This is a very well-known magician, was sitting there. He just had a brand new deck of Tally-Ho. And he was all into it. Tony asked him to come up. Guy comes up. He took the cards and tore them in half, destroyed the cards at the convention in front of the audience. That was his dedication. He said no cards. He didn't mind if you were off on your own doing that, but during the shows, it was dedicated to this art form that so many people think we're crazy as hell, but I enjoy it. And really, once again, just honored to be with you guys. Tony was really the real deal. It's the real deal.
And that famous magician had no problem at all with having his cards ripped up, right? He was honored.
Tears welled up in his eyes.
I remember that moment. I actually remember that moment.
Eyes out.
I was hoping someone would remember that, because some people think I'm joking, especially when I
remember
exactly who it was.
I remember it.
Yes.
Yeah. So do I.
Very prominent magician. And he ripped those cards, man. It was like, whoa.
Thanks for the memories there, Hiawatha.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, he not only did that, I saw him once launch a skull, launch a human skull at someone for similar reasons.
Yeah.
Just flung it as hard as he could.
Yeah. No
Was he doing a zombie routine with the skull?
No, Tony had like a sort of little altar set up in the hospitality room, and he grabbed the skull that had been on the altar and just flung it at this dude. It went smash. Yeah. Tony, I mean, one of his gifts was that he would do the unexpected, and you were shocked for a moment, like jolted out of your complacency, because what he did was shocking.
Yeah.
And then he'd laugh his Tony laugh, his demon laugh, and it was like, oh, he's just goofing around.
Someone didn't he pull a blank gun on someone or something?
I've heard that story.
Richie Kaufman.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Secrets of magic revealed, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I recall a story of, now whether or not this is entirely true, there's a little question, but somebody was talking to Tony about, well, you don't like to use cards at all, and what do people think around you, and all the kind of questions he'd hate. And so he said to them, whether or not he did this, it was a great story. He said, so here's what I do. I sit around my house and I wait for Jehovah's Witnesses to bang on my door. And when they show up, I open the door and they say, oh my God, do you worship the devil? And he says, I tell them, yes. And these are the devil's playthings. Pick a card.
Wouldn't put it past him.
I love it.
Yeah.
He was one of a kind.
Oh God, yeah.
For sure.
Thank you, Vince, for making an award that accolades him.
Yeah.
Because he really needs to be known.
I agree. It's the, he took, like I said, it's always amazes me when you have magicians with the posters of these golden age magi, suspended on their walls. You see them when people, their Zoom shows, on their stage shows, they have them in their homes. Thurston and Keller and Dante and the rest of them. And I don't think they really understood those magicians. I think Tony did, ritual and real magical elements, mysticism, occasionally the occult. There's a reason these people had imps and devils and demons in their posters and artwork. There was to be titillating and a little dangerous, and to inspire a threat, and to get people interested. Like, are they have a contract with the devil? Are these really evil people? And I think a lot of people recognized it was just all in fun and jest to some degree, but I think they also appreciated, they appreciated the ritualistic aspect of it. And Tony definitely incorporated that into his performances, his style, and everything about that. And people who could just take a little bit of that, just a little bit of the wonder of storytelling and incorporate it into their show, they can be unique. And that's what Bizarre Magic offers even mainstream magicians, is theatricality, uniqueness, originality. Don't be like the 10,000 other magicians in your area. Stand out from the crowd. And that's what we can offer, and our friends and colleagues and other storytelling magicians. Wasn't it Copperfield who said, on my gravestone inscribed storyteller? not magician.
Yeah.
Even, he doesn't do the cliche necessarily of 20 minutes of storytelling and a self-working trick at the end. But but he does incorporate a little story into his shows, and it's original and different. And everyone here does that. When you see Kenton's show, a Hiawatha show, Mark, Striving show, Given or Givon, as we debated before the show started tonight.
I set him straight.
Thank you.
I missed that part. I missed it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's followed me forever. Vince, do you mind if I speak to those moments for a second?
Sure.
Well, especially after having our theater for over 18 years, we get lots of superstar performers, and they always tend to ask me why I would do things that were more on the dark side. When Carol and I toured, our show was called Dream Masters, and we were doing Dreams and Nightmares live. And it was dark in a lot of elements. There was a lot of humor as well. But I think people don't understand the impact of what dark magic can be for people. And so, people say, why don't you make it funny? Why don't you make it this or that? And I think there's such value in giving people this experience of feeling something visceral, potentially horrific, and supernatural. And I think there's total validity to that. Magic shouldn't just be what everybody else thinks it is. And so I've been drawn to that since before I heard of bizarre magic. And I think it's an incredibly depthy art form. The other thing I want to say is that I object to the term storytelling magic. Because to me, storytelling magic could be, I see David Parr having some thoughts. Storytelling magic could be, rub-a-dub-dub, 3 balls in a tub or whatever that is,
And that can't be weird?
And so the fact that people have decided to call bizarre magic storytelling magic, I don't think it hits the mark at all. I think bizarre magic is its own unique thing. It deals with the supernatural. It deals with belief systems, and therefore can have the potential to have a lot more impact on somebody. Like when I told you I lost my friends, because it gets inside them deeper. And I just, that's part of the reason I've had a passion for it. I think all magic is better when it gets inside people somewhere, a personal connection. But anyway, I've gone off way too long. So thanks for
that's fine. Yeah. I was sitting in a bar at a hotel in Baltimore. There was a magician friend of mine who was there to do lectures in town that day. And I decided to give him a tour of Baltimore City. And as we sat at that bar talking about bizarre magic and mentalism, he told me, no one really believes you're reading minds. It might feel like you got an impression, and that sort of thing. But like a book, no. Like a book, no. But they believe in belief. They believe in story. They believe in legends and myths and religion. And that resonated with me that day. It's like people don't believe you're Professor X from the X-Men. All right, but they might believe that you might pick something up, an essence. There's a precedent for that in legend, myth, and religion, belief systems, and that sort of thing. People believe in ghosts and hauntings and angels and demons. They don't believe in superheroes, except in movies, but they do believe in these things, or at least they feel like they should. Does anyone know who that person was? It was actually
name names.
Sure, but he's in this room right now. I'm surprised he doesn't remember that conversation at all. He was lecturing at IBM and an IBM meeting that day, and we went to the Poe grave site. And
was it me?
It was you, yeah.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
I paraphrased a little bit.
You paraphrased like crazy, man.
Oh man,
I embellished.
Now, here's where I come out. Okay, let me correct the record here. Here's where I come out. First of all, when it comes to medalism, it could be, and to be honest, I don't recall that specific conversation. I do recall the fish and chips; they were great.
Yeah, they were.
But where I come out is like with medalism. If it's done well, if it's done convincingly, people can conceivably believe that what you have done is legitimate. And of course, they will or they won't. And we could get into the whole disclaimer garbage and all that stuff. And Kenton's frowning. And and I frown too. It's pointless. It really is.
It is, yeah.
But the thing is too, is that I can't tell you too how many times doing a bizarre show, I have been asked afterwards, is this real?
Yep.
And because I play it real, and I take no prisoners and I leave no survivors, and I am not the tiniest bit afraid to scare the living crap out of them if I possibly can. And it's a wonderful thing. Now I'll tell you, here's the ironic part. I can only dish it out. I can't take it. So that's just me.
But you're honest.
It's so not uncommon though. It's very common.
But
and I just said too that
good bizarre can be perceived as being real. And it's depending of course on how you do it. And but yeah, it's that's one of the things that of course I also do. I pretty much the majority of what I do, I also do from an autobiographical perspective, as if
what makes it powerful.
Exactly. These are experiences. And by the way, we need to hang sometime, man.
Definitely.
We've never been in the same room at the same time.
That's why, yes.
And I would so love to hang with you, man. We need to talk at some point. But it would be. It's one of those things where if you're relating things as a personal experience or what have you, it becomes real to them because it's real to you. And that's where I shake out, because then I get it all the time. People walking away going, was this for real? Did that really happen? Oh yeah. And whether
the audience senses that you're sincere.
Yeah, exactly.
Sincerity is everything.
Yeah, this past Friday I had 2 people walk out of my show.
Good.
Because
you gotta take that as an accolade.
They came late in the show, and I was doing a book test, Waverly Hills Sanatorium book test, and talking about the most haunted hotel in the world, and that 3,000 people perished due to tuberculosis, and this book had a connection with the sanatorium, and they just saw me do what I think is a really good haunted key effect, and I passed a book test around for them to examine, and they walked out before it ever got to them. And one of my friends ran out to make sure everything was okay, and he said, "That's just too much for us, so we're leaving."
Well, one of the things I want to weigh in on just a little bit is, I touched on it earlier, I have this passion for trying to create things that are immersive, where we put people in an environment where they're experiencing the supernatural. And so even if they're not believing it before they get into that environment, when you can get their emotional level together with that and get them to go along for the ride, just like a good seance would do, only I'm thinking more extreme than that. Even if they walk away at the end and eventually think, oh, it had to be a bunch of tricks and stuff, it's real for the moment. And that's what makes it such a great experience for people, is that while they're immersed, they are living it. And to me, that is the most exciting way to use magic there is.
I think that's one of the biggest problems of magic now, right? Is that most magicians, the way magicians talk about magic is, how am I going to fool them best? What's going to grab their attention? Why, how are they going to, what about this move? What about, or God forbid, I have some great ideas about how to tell this story. But oh God, let me run through the screen and kill you now. It's really not it, because there's no sincerity there. It's a made up piece of crap. What we need is, and this is going back to Keller and Thurston. Keller said to Thurston, if you want to do this right, study the occult. He was a minister and he said that stuff, right? Yeah. He understood the importance of getting a grip of some of the ideas, some of the principles, the feeling of it, so that it would get into the performance. One of the shows currently I'm involved is called the Sonic Cinema Experience. And what we do is we do perform not only magic and mentalism, but live music to old silent films. And part of our work with that, with an audience, is to show old actual clips of people doing mesmeric passes and doing actual ritualistic things, and then showing how they get into the movies, and then showing how they go from the movies and going into Blackstone Senior's show and everybody else's shows. So really, magicians have been imitating the idea of real magic for a long time. Now
that's how it started. That's how it all started.
Right. Today, they're all afraid of it. And I make this post often, and I know I'm talking to the choir here, but enough, magicians can't be afraid of magic all the time. It's ridiculous. And what we represent is, we're going to make this real for a while. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to have the same belief systems I do or anybody else does. But by God, you're going to be thinking about it for a while. Sure. And I think that's the difference. I would go across the street to see that magic show. Mm-hmm. I will not I won't go next door to see most magic shows.
I know, Mo.
My sense of it is that magic, many magicians feel that magic should just be about surface amusement, and that the only level on which it should be satisfying is that it's entertaining and amusing. And the problem with that is that there's no depth beneath it. There's nothing more for people to connect with.
Yeah, meaning is what you're talking about. A show needs to, performance needs to have meaning. And today, by the way, will be forever remembered when Kenton Knepper's reputation as a nice guy was destroyed when he threatened Zoom murder on YouTube.
No, I think magic should occasionally make people uncomfortable, mm-hmm. because the implications of it are disquieting. Mm-hmm. The implications of bizarre magic are that there are unseen forces at work. Yeah. And can those forces be controlled fully? We don't know. So that's the game. The game is to occasionally make people uncomfortable.
I love that, David. I love it.
I came into this first as being a haunter before I was a magician. So trying to get somebody to believe when they walk in off the streets, they're in a cave a moment later, and you have to replicate all of the sight, sound, and smell of a cave to make them believe for a moment they're someplace else and immerse them in that so that they all of a sudden forget where they are.
So they feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
Good magicians create a bubble universe in their, it's the story, it's a metaphor. Metaphor resonates with people. If you tell a child that you should be wary of strangers, they don't understand that. It's an alien concept for them, because they've never experienced stranger danger before. But if you tell the story of Little Red Riding Hood, that they remember that for the rest of their lives. Metaphor, storytelling, and weird belief and weirdness, ritual, these things resonate with people on a level that that causes, they'll remember it for the rest of their lives, basically. They'll remember an aspect of it.
Because human beings are built to respond to narrative. Mm-hmm. Because
we
narrative is how we understand the world around us and our place in it.
We have to
And
remember.
symbolism, right? And symbolism. And that's
Yeah.
and that's the rest of what we offer. We offer using the props as actual symbolism.
Mhm.
For
You
something
know,
larger. Yeah.
Yes, it's some pointing to something greater. And again, that's why the disclaimer thing drives me a little crazy,
Yeah,
because
it's so pointless.
it doesn't make any sense. As long as my disclaimer, as some of you know, is really simple. I tell an audience what I do is not real, and half the room goes, and I say what I do is not fake, and the other half of the room goes, what I do is symbolic, and everybody goes, oh, and we can get on with it,
Yeah.
right? Because that's the truth. And anything I tell people in a show is really symbolic of something that happened in my life. So there is no phoniness there. It might be an exaggeration in the moment. It might be a trick but it represents real experiences.
A real thing, yeah.
My real experiences are a hell of a lot scarier than anything I do on stage.
Bizarre magicians, though, I think, go the extra step of caring enough to remove the red flags before they pop up to the audience. We've already foreseen what an ancient artifact should feel like, how to respect it when we produce it, and how to bring it to life when we share it with them. I mean, regular magicians are sort of like, oh, I got this thing, and I don't know what it does. And we're like, no, it's in this ancient box, and now let me show it to you.
It's true. These are things that resonate with people that, that separates you from, just another magician amongst thousands. You have to figure out a way that you're not introduced as tonight's magician. Is that how you want to be? I mean, that's generic magic at that point. Do you want to be a generic magician?
Yeah.
And bizarre magic offers an opportunity for magicians to not be generic, to not be, mediocre. The going to illusionist every week and checking out what they have new and, on their front page is not going to save your show. The answers do not lie there. So
Look within.
that is the Axe body spray of magic.
Yeah, no, when I'm asked for advice by young magicians, like how do I start creating my own material? One of the pieces of advice that I give them is make a list of the things you feel passionately about. Get an index card, write down a list of the things that you really care about, that you're really into, and that anybody who knows you knows you're into, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the place to start. And for me, it was Kolchak the Night Stalker when I was a kid, and comic books, horror comics, monster movies, ghost stories, Sherlock Holmes. I mean, all this stuff was intertwined with my interest in magic, and all of it was blossoming at the same time. And so I think that's where to start, is to look within yourself and find what moves you, what motivates you.
Well, and that comes right back to what you said about sincerity.
Right.
If it's real inside of you, then it becomes real for the audience because you're speaking from a place of where you care.
Yeah. Well, one of Tony's gifts was that he could talk in a nonsense language. It would be total gibberish, but because he took it seriously and seemed like he meant it, you took it seriously.
You do mean ancient Sumerian, don't you?
Right.
Yeah.
and it's just gobbledygook. Yeah. But you took it seriously because he seemed like he meant it. He meant every word, every nonsense word.
He probably did at the moment.
Yeah.
You would have to.
Yeah. The best there are magicians, of course, who can, turn a character on, in a snap. They can actually do voices and characterizations. They are super rare, the ones who do that well, and can maintain that character, like that during a performance. But the best option, though, is to accomplish that sincerity that needs to be done is to just be at most an exaggerated version of yourself. Everyone in this room is a weirdo, so that helps them to have better, more sincere performances on stage.
Yes, the first annual Honorary Weirdo Awards go to everyone in this meeting.
Par, I have one thing to say to you.
See, I believed it.
He hung on every word.
I believed it. Yeah, I mean, Tony was an amazing person in that even when he was being a goofball, he could command your attention. He could create pinpoint focus in a room that just moments ago had been a crazy, loud, drunken party. And then a buzz would go through the room, and it was Tony's going to perform something. And suddenly the atmosphere of this room would change. And the furniture would be rearranged. And lights lowered. Candles were lighted. And suddenly everybody was hanging on Tony's every word. And just moments ago, it was a crazy loud party. And that was one of his gifts, was that he could command your attention. And I think sincerity was one of the keys to that.
No doubt.
You wanted to listen to what he had to say.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like he meant it.
It's one of the last thing I want to say, because it's so important. I'm sitting here and it's going through my mind, and I debated whether to say it, but it's very important for anyone watching and for you brothers here. It reminds me of what Eugene Berger said. There are many rooms in the house of magic, rooms for everyone,
but no shower.
And all 9 of us, although are in this category of bizarre, we're all very different in what we do. And so I don't want people watching to think, to be bizarre, you got to scare people, or you got to rip some off, you got to do. We're all so different, and it's because we are being us, and that's what makes it real magic for me. And different people have different opinions, but what I do is magic. It is not fake. It is magic, because my mission is to move you, is to touch you in some way that when you leave, you either hate it. That's magic. If you hated what I did, that is magic. I've influenced your emotions. If you cry, I've influenced your emotions. If you laugh, that is magic. And the beautiful thing about Andruzzi, it was inclusive. When you went to the invocation, the shows were so unique. You did not sit there and get bored, because whoever was on the show, if it was 5 people, there's going to be 5 unexpected things. It was, and that is what magic is not becoming. Our industry is becoming copycat. I'm becoming very bored, and I hate to even say it. I'm becoming bored with it. And it hurts me, because it's something I've been doing since I was 5, and I have a deep love for it. And you just see boring. Instead of people innovative, like my man Carbonaro, as far as I'm concerned, he could be placed as a bizarre magician, because what he does is from his heart, is from his soul. When you see him, it's not an act. It is extra. One of you said that earlier, be extra of who you are. Be extraordinary, Hiawatha, extraordinary, Joe Given, extraordinary. And that is what people need to bring to it. I said too much. I'm gonna shut up.
No, you're fine.
Man,
that's all perfect. That's great. But yeah, it be an exaggerated version, extra version of yourself. It's the sincerity comes through in that way. If you if you're into the occult and this and spiritualism and magical thinking, never mind the other stuff, even magical thinking, if you're into that, if you understand what that means, like really understand what that means, that sincerity will come across in your performance.
Yep.
Even if you're doing card tricks, even if that's all you're doing, if all you're doing is card tricks, if you have sincerity and there's meaning and you're not reading the patter out of the instructions that came with that Svengali deck, I don't even know if there is patter that comes with the Svengali deck because I've never read it, but but maybe, but yeah, if you're not doing it like everyone else is, if everything is your words and your spin, and you're able to convey your persona, not your character, your persona through your performance, then that'll resonate with your audience. Vlad is, people can argue he's a vampire character, but that's his persona. I've hung out with him. He is that.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I want to thank you very much for saying that, because you're so right. I think a lot of people really feel like, I don't want to get in bizarre magic because I know there's probably some entertainment there, but I don't believe in this, or it's against my religion or whatever. And really, that's such a small, shallow, niche part of bizarre magic. Again, I thought it was weird when some of my friends thought I did bizarre magic, and I talked to Eugene about it, and Eugene said, "Oh, I know, Kenton. They sent you with the label of being a mentalist, and they slapped this label on me of being a bizarrist. Just get over it." Because it's like you can't do anything about it once that happens. But the truth of the matter is, when we recognize, okay, wait, what I do is about something more. It's about something that touches people. And if you're being real, then you're being a real artist. And I think that that's what bizarre magic does best. Is it's not fake storytelling. It's about sharing something deep within yourself. I tell people now, except for our big stage shows, I don't go out to do mentalism anymore unless I know by going to that particular place, I'm going to heal someone. And if I can't do that, I'm not showing up. And that's a fact. And I know it sounds fancy and woo or whatever, but that's a truth. Psychologically, if I can't really transform someone, there's no point for me showing up. I have no interest. I've seen it all before. But if I can show up and do this stuff and make a difference in people's lives, not by amusing them to death, but by transforming hurts and pains and challenges, then yes, I want to show up. Then I better show up. And that's what we can do. That's what we get to do.
Mm.
Well, Hiawatha, I think there's reason to hope. And here's why.
No question.
I've noticed over the past several years, non-magicians using phrases that I never heard them use before. And so I've heard people say, who are not magicians, say, I really love close-up magic to me. And when I was growing up, no one but a magician would have used that phrase. And I think what's changing the game is the television shows that show a variety of styles of magic. So then non-magicians become aware that there's a wide variety of approaches to this. It's not just cookie cutter magicians all cut from the same slab of dough. And so I've even heard non-magicians use the phrase bizarre magic. I like bizarre magic, and they're getting it from watching shows like Fool Us, which occasionally has on a bizarrist. And so I think there's reason to hope. And it's because the public is becoming more aware of the wide variety of approaches to this art form.
Good point.
I completely agree with all of that. And I've actually been very happy to see people like on AGT that have gotten further and further in the process because they're doing things that are different. And the audience is recognizing that. I mean, we can say that Shin Lim did everything he did because it was visual and spectacular and whatever, but it still opened up doors for the audience to see that there is close-up magic, there's sleight of hand, there's stuff that doesn't have to be giant things. Right. At the beginning of AGT, they were soliciting us to be on the show. They said we didn't even have to audition. They wanted large-scale illusions. And I won't even go into it right now, but we declined because our stuff was more storytelling oriented. We didn't want to get buzzed because one of our moments might not have been a mind-blowing illusion, but it was theatrical and it furthered the story. And so now people are seeing this stuff and realizing that, yeah, this is a depthy art form. And I'm thrilled with that. I'm thrilled with that. I think it's helped our theater over the years because people that may have never wanted to come see a magic show decided, I'd love to see some of this stuff live. And, and on that note, gents, thank you again, Vince. I am thrilled and honored to be part of this. This is just unbelievable. It is so good to see my old friends again. It means more than you guys know. This really made my year. And, but I'm going to have to bow out.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for coming. Keep in touch. We'll talk soon and we'll see you in April.
We'll see you in April.
That's right.
Hey.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And David, I like your cookie reference, your cookie cutter reference earlier. A lot of magicians I know are white and doughy.
Indeed.
So that did,
And I don't think some of them are delicious.
The metaphor,
No.
The metaphor functions on several levels.
That's right.
Just call me metaphor man.
Yeah. Well, it's that works. Once again, the metaphor is what resonates and connects storytelling, aspects, whether you think that bizarre is storytelling or not, like Joe suggested earlier, that the narrative aspect, with mixed with a little bit of theatricality and the idea of believing in it, that is what resonates with audiences. People remember that they make those connections. In a bizarre magic show, people come. I mean, everyone in this room, I guarantee, I don't even have to have seen you live and in person. I know that people come up to you afterward and they ask you if that was real, or where can I look that up? Where can I find more information on that? At the very least, or this, I've had an experience like this. That's crazy. No one, said, no one says, I was walking down the street one day and an ace of hearts popped out. It's like, they say, I said, no, when I was a kid, I thought I saw an accident before it happened, or I think my house was haunted, or, I can feel the emotions of other people. Like you've said in your show, everyone in this room, I'm sure, has heard things like that or something similar.
Yeah.
And it's, it's like, I know I put on a great show when a couple of people come hang out afterward to ask me questions about what happened in it, And
what often happens is that the question that they ask is a lead-in to them sharing their story.
Yep, exactly.
And it's the story of the weird thing that happened to them, or the weird thing that happened to their cousin, or whatever it is. They want to share that connection with you of telling that story.
Well, many times,
and that's fantastic. If you can make that happen, then you really connected with that audience.
I mean, in Bizarre Magic, it seems that unlike in a regular traditional show, the show starts before and after the curtain goes up.
Mm-hmm.
It still goes, it's as soon as they walk through the door, the show is on. And as soon as they walk out the door, the show is still continuing, because they're going to converse with each other and everything. Yep. And if they're milling about, they're going to converse. So the show is still going on.
Yeah. Yeah, if anything that can be done to extend the performance beyond the confines of the performance space is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna have to dash, my brothers. What an honor! Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you. Some of you I'm going to see before April. I know this, and I'll be talking to you. Love you so much. Let's keep
Well.
it
Love you
going.
too.
I'll see you soon.
Great to see you.
I actually think we'll call it an evening with that, Hiawatha, actually. I'd like to thank everyone for coming here this evening. It was an honor and pleasure to hang out with my friends in Magic and Mystery again. You know, you're all absolutely wonderful. Thank you all for coming here tonight. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thoughts and everything to all of you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Good.